Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Monday, May 8th, 2023. Welcome all. New week, new start, new beginning. ECSI VIPs, almost an absolute epic weekend. We finished the week plus 2.61 units, not including pizza and beer, which I think we were 2-1. Shout out to Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth, who came on Saturday. We had the Kentucky Derby winner, Mage, at 15-1. We had the exacta. And if you put all his horses together, you have this, the trifecta too. And last night, I don't know what time it was, around 11 o'clock. If you heard this loud yelling and screaming and cursing, that was me. As the ECSI VIP Action Parlay, the New Jersey Devils, box to wire, money line, puck line, any line you wanted, you got it. We had the Padres 2-1, top of the ninth, 2 outs, 1 strike, and Mookie goes deep off of Josh Hader. Thanks for playing as we lose in 10. And, of course, we had the Kraken that just absolutely whitewashed Dallas and take a 2-1 lead. But we're here today with the NHL expert himself, Mr. Andrew McInnis. We're going to talk what's going on tonight, a big game, Edmonton and Vegas. Talk about what's going on. And I know he's probably smiling deep in about the Leafs. We'll talk about that as well. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one, the only, Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Happy Monday, my friend. I wish I could be smack talking the Maple Leafs right now, but as somebody that stepped out and took them yesterday, it kind of feels a bit wrong for me to talk smack, you know, and that's karma getting me back. You know, I'm a well-known Leafs hater, and I go ahead and bet on them yesterday. That was my first mistake.
I have a couple questions, and obviously the Leafs are one of them. I'm going to start here, though. I was shocked, and then when I talked to some friends and colleagues, they says, well, you know, you got to win. And where I'm going with this is the Rangers letting go the coach. And I looked at his win-loss, and it was like 50 games over 500. I know they were there last year, and then they come up short this year. Shocked, surprised about this move?
I'm not surprised because it's the Rangers, and that's what their owner and GMs have done for years now. Look at the Knicks. I mean, they've been through the same thing. It's a pure shame. I will say that Gerard Gallant might not be the best at getting the guys going, and maybe look at, you know, I'm not comparing him to Daryl Sutter, but it seems like, you know, the old age coaches are slowly being removed from the game at this point. Whatever the message is that they're preaching, it's not getting pushed across. But Jeff, you know, I was high on the Rangers. I liked them quite a bit. Felt like a genius after the first 2 games of that series against the Devils. But the problem is that playoff hockey is so much different than regular season hockey. And we saw that. I mean, is Panarin known for back checking? No. Is Patrick Kane known for his defense? No. Is Tarasenko known for his back checking? No. And when you look around the board and the teams that Patrick Kane played for in Chicago when he won the cup, when Tarasenko won the cup, who he played for, there was other guys around there that were those back checkers. The problem is, if your top 6 is so filled with talent, you have no choice, but you have to back check. And I think some of those guys were just simply not used to it. It's kind of like the Leafs last night. I mean, they should be controlling the puck when the top players are on the ice. Instead, those guys were playing defense more than they probably would have liked to. But do I think it was the right move? No. Am I surprised? No, because it was the Rangers, and they've done that before. I kind of feel bad for him, honestly, on a personal level. And look what happened with him with the Golden Knights. Was it his fault with Golden Knights? I mean, that's now twice he's been fired by a team where they dominated in the regular season. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks coach. Does he deserve that?
It's like everyone needs a scapegoat, and I don't know if the Bucks were being politically correct and waited a week to fire him because he lost his brother during the series in a car crash.
Yeah.
And you know, that's more of, again, you got supposedly the best player in the league, Giannis. And by the way, they did win a championship. You know, no one brings up the fact that Middleton's always hurt and some of these other guys are always hurt. But, you know, at the end of the line, it's about the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. And you know, I think with the Rangers, and the same should be said, if the Rangers do this, not that the Bruins are going to fire Montgomery, even though some people want his head chopped, but when a team pushes all in, like the Rangers with the moves that they made, like the Bruins with the moves that they made, and they're both outside looking in, you know, that's ownership going down to the GMs, and then the GM saying, well, you ain't firing me. We'll go further down the pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
Like, you know, it's funny. I've been debating it. I know you didn't ask me about the Leafs. So I'm not trying to rip on them right now, but I've been debating with people about if both go, if one goes, do both go for the GM and head coach, right? If one of them is going at all, Jeff, right? And the more I think about it, I was always the guy that didn't like Dubas compared to Keefe. And what this year is really tough. When he put himself on the line and went out and picked up Noel Acciari, Jake McCabe, Ryan O'Reilly, Samsonov has been great. Hell, he might have stolen them the series in round one. I don't think it's Dubas' fault anymore. I mean, should he have paid 4 guys that are scared of their own shadow that much money? Maybe not. But I think it's a big problem that, I mean, how could anybody blame Kyle Dubas at this point? He must be up there going crazy to see the lack of, when it comes down to it, when you got some players that perform at a certain level during the regular season, then you look at some guys in the playoffs. When I'm debating with people now about hockey stuff, I don't even talk about the regular season anymore. I don't, because there's some players that are so much different. But I'll ask you, do you think if one goes, they both go? If Kyle goes, so does Sheldon. If Sheldon goes, so does Kyle.
I can take you back to last year from a Boston standpoint. And the fact is that something had to give. And I can tell you the locals right here, 98.5, Felger, Maz, and everyone else, they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for upper management to get, you know, Cam and Sweeney, get those bums out of here. They're useless. And then, of course, then the coach, what's the coach supposed to do? He gets into the playoffs every year. And you know, it's Tuukka. You know this. It's always been Tuukka was the scapegoat. Somehow, some way, Sweeney finagled the owners and says, hey, give us one more year. Let's get rid of Cassidy. He's the problem. He can't handle the young kids. He's coaching bad. He's yelling, screaming. They can't take it. We'll bring in another coach, and then we'll take care of it. And then they gave him carte blanche, and they're making all these moves. I mean, the actual core 2-3 years down the line for this Bruin team, it's not going to look pretty.
No, it's going to be one of the biggest downfalls we've seen, I think. Look at the Ottawa Senators. Look at even my Canadians. Like, there's the Buffalo Sabres. That division's getting better. And some of those top teams are getting worse. I mean, even looking at other divisions like the Penguins, Capitals, I mean, some of those top teams are going to, it's really good to see. I mean, I love seeing change in any league. So as much as I cheer for Sidney Crosby, it was kind of nice seeing the passing of the guard for both Sid and Ovechkin to not be in the playoffs this year. I think is actually kind of good for the league. And if the Bruins don't make the playoffs, some people, the big buzz in Canada right now is everybody is saying that they think the Ottawa Senators are going to be better than the Maple Leafs next year. And that's a huge, huge stretch to take. But, I mean, the Sens pick up Chikrin. They've got Kachuk playing really well. You know, Norris was injured. Batherson, Stützle's only getting better. They won some pretty big games. I don't know. I'm really curious what's going to happen. Obviously, the series isn't over yet, but I think we're going to be in for a pretty interesting offseason in the NHL this year.
And here's part 2. Bruins up 3-1. Game 5 at home, minus 200. Getting ready to send the Panthers golfing, and they come one save short. So now it's 3-2. And we go back to Florida, first 1-6 wins. Now it's game 7, and anything can happen, and it happened. And what I'm trying to say is we all know hot goaltending can win cups. They win playoff series. You said, I'm not going to talk about the regular season. I get that part. And in the playoff season, I'm not saying these guys turn the switch on, but it just takes one iota, one play, one lucky break. And all of a sudden, the Panthers have now rattled off 6 in a row. Bob is looking like, I'm starting to think, believe it or not, the Panthers could make it to the cup.
Me too. I think they could too, because I think that they're not just playing well offensively anymore. They've got a good goalie that's helping them out in big games. And frankly, what I saw from Carolina, and I don't like to overreact too much, but what I saw from Carolina in that game 3 proves to me that they're just a home team, right?
Yeah.
And I know they are going to have home ice, but if Florida steals a game on the road, I think Carolina would be screwed. I've been so wrong, Jeff, about home ice advantage this playoffs. I keep on talking about it, that how important that last change is. But one series, if there's ever one series that it has been so far, and Jack Hughes said it to the press conference, it's been that series. Who gets the last change? Who gets to go against who? Who gets to shut down Sebastian Aho? Who gets to shut down Jack Hughes? I think the pathways, I said it the other day, and I'll say it again. Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe Trophy is the best bet you can make right now. I don't understand why anyone would take Matthew Tkachuk, because if they make it to the finals, if they win the Stanley Cup, Bobrovsky, believe me, he's winning it. I think he will win the Conn Smythe Trophy. I want to see what the current odds are on that one. The last time I checked, he was 20-1. He's now 12-1 to win it.
See, you're moving numbers, Andrew. You didn't even know it. You're moving numbers.
That is insane, though. I mean, obviously they're up 3-0, so it makes sense. But 12-1 for him to win, I still think is a good number. At this point, they're up 3-0.
Well, and again, I right there, I had the Leafs winning the East. I had the Leafs winning the Cup. We have Edmonton on the West, the same thing. I had the Leafs knocking out the Bruins in round 2. As I was listening to the commentary last night, if you are a Leafs fan, if you are a Leafs upper management, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario. The Bruins, historic season, gone. Tampa Bay, 3-time Stanley Cup, gone. And now you're sitting round 2 against the Panthers. You home ice, you were 2-1 favorites. You couldn't have asked for any more. And now you're down 3-0. Is the series over? And I'm saying this with a straight face. They're favored again tomorrow. Okay? Somehow, some way they steal it. They come back home. There is no way in holy damn hell they can lose game 5 at home, because they'll get booed off of that ice so damn fast. Okay. So maybe they can get to 6. Bob stands on his head and Panthers win 3-2. They have to, Andrew, get it to game 6 in my eyes.
Absolutely. You know what's funny though, Jeff? If I'm a Maple Leafs fan, I don't think any actual rational Leafs fan would say this, but I think that you want them to get swept, because this needs to be changed, right? if this series goes to 6, nothing will change. There won't be much change in the team. Would you agree with that? I know that might sound like an overreaction, but if this is 4-0, one of Matthews or Marner are not playing on the team next year, I don't think. Something happens to the core 4. Look at Tavares' contract. He might be the worst out of all of them for their contract.
They were talking about how bad Tavares has been. He's been a no-show. But I want to, every time I'm waiting to at least hear where the hell has Austin Matthews been in this series?
He's been in his own end a lot. And I think that I truthfully, I'm not trying to take any credit away from him. Or I guess to not bash him, I guess. But I'll tell you what, Jeff, I truly believe this, and I wish I reacted better with betting wise on this. Sheldon Keefe got outcoached against John Cooper. Do you know how many games the Maple Leafs have won in regulation this playoffs? 1. 3 of their 4 victories over the Tampa Bay Lightning were in overtime. In fact, all 3 of the victories that took place in Tampa were in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon and Keefe has been outcoached in every game he's been coaching so far in this playoffs, I think. The fact that Austin Matthews at home was not getting put in better positions to succeed, I think falls on the coach. Of course, there are the big guys got to step up, right? Everyone says, well, the Oilers, all they have is McDavid and Draisaitl. Oh, yeah? Well, they scored 4 goals last game. That's the difference, really. But I do think that they were not put into a position to succeed. I really feel like I truly believe that Keefe is he was riding the coattails of those star players. You put him on another team, I think he gets exposed as a coach. He was riding the coattails of these all-star players, and in the playoffs, they are different guys. They really are. I think what needs to happen really is that they need to lose next game, and something has to happen to that team. If it goes 6, nothing will happen, Jeff. It'll be the same old story. But you're a numbers guy, so I wanted to ask you this. Look at what the opening number was for Game 3, the closing number for Game 3, and then the opener for Game 4. How much money do you think the Leafs are going to take from everybody in Toronto or people that are backing them not to get swept in game? I mean, do you tell people, anyone that likes them, to bet them right now, or do you tell them to wait? Because I saw like 123, 125 open up, and they closed at like 165 from some of the spots I saw.
Oh, they got steamed to what. That's why, as you know, I grabbed the Devils yesterday, and I was like, it's the Devils. As much as I wanted to jump on the Leafs, I just didn't like the way the number was going. There was actually some late money coming in at Circa on the other side. And I thought, you want my truth? I thought I'd wake up this morning and the Panthers would be favored. The Panthers should be favored. And yet I got Toronto minus 120 as the opener. Right now it's Circa at 118. They're going to get nothing but Panthers money. And the under-over is 6.5. I'm going to go on record right now. Obviously, it could change tomorrow. I'm going to go 4-2 Leafs. I think they get it back home. I think they'll be 2-1 favorites in Game 5. I think they win Game 5 as well. And then, obviously, it comes down to that Game 6. There is no way in holy hell that the Panthers should not be favored. So Vegas is telling me, hey, it's 3-0. The world's ending. The series is over. They're not allowing to have the Panthers favored because the wise guys would say, all right, you're going to give me Toronto. Let me ask you this. How many times has Toronto been underdogs in the playoffs this year? In the individual games?
I think it was it once or 0? 0? Yeah. There you go. Well, I think back to the Montreal series against Winnipeg. That was 2 years ago. It was all exciting. They come back after down 3-1, beat the Leafs in round 1. Round 2, I almost felt like I wasn't even that into it. And they swept the Jets. Mm-hmm. They were underdogs game 1, 2, and 3. And I do remember, Jeff, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure they were favorites in Game 4.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah. And so that's what you're saying there is, for the most part, what should happen. I think like it should take the books 3 games for them to say, okay, let's see what, but to your point, yeah, like,
Because
I mean, you know what's crazy though is that because you just said it yourself. I mean, imagine they win 4-2, like you said, right? And then they lose, like, let's say 4-1 at home.
oh
Like,
God,
the fans will boo. Like, the boo birds are going to be out after the first period if they're down like 2-0.
yeah.
Because they better hope. I mean, they better pack their golf clubs for Game 6 and hope that they just lose there. Because if they lose in 7 at home, even, like I just think that there's something that could be said about losing at home. If I'm the Maple Leafs, I'd rather lose on the road.
Well, I was just going to say that if they don't believe that they can win 4 straight games, they're better off packing it in, losing here, and the season's over. They can just clear out their lockers and say, "Hey guys, I'll see you in August, September. I'm gone. I'm fleeing the country," because it's going to get ugly if they stick and stay. I know you have to leave us in a few minutes here, so let's get to tonight. Vegas and Edmonton. I had an opening number of -170, plus 148 on the Knights, 6.5 over -40 cents. Currently at the circa -176, you can get the Knights at plus 160, 6.5 over -40 cents. I looked at all the numbers. I looked how I could get in here. The only plus money you can get on Edmonton is if you lay the hook in the first period. You can get a big price there. Or for them to get to 5 or better, you can get plus money. They're teasing you. You can get Vegas to get to 4 tonight for around plus 140. But the stage is yours, my brother.
Well, I was thinking about you earlier today, Jeff, because I was looking at that. That's what I had my eyes on, value-wise, right? Like, as much as I do think the Oilers will win this series, was very impressed with how they came out in that first period. I know around here we don't lay huge chalk, but I'd say anybody that's not betting the first period overs in these Oilers games, you should be playing with house money at this point, right? I mean, it's gone up big time. If you're not comfortable with betting the 1.5 heavily juiced, there are 2s out there at most of these sports books that are available now, which are great because I find in a lot of instances on these 2s you're getting the worst case scenario push, but I like that team total over 3.5 at plus 135 at DraftKings for the Vegas Golden Knights. I believe they will shine. They will come out on top tonight. But if they don't, the craziest thing is that I always talk about the difference between the money line price versus the team total. And the funny thing is, in most instances, you're getting a better number on the team total, right? Would you agree with that?
100%.
Look at this scenario. That's crazy. Like I saw earlier, plus 1, what was it, 50 something?
59.60.
And then the team total was plus 135. I mean, what are we gonna get a 5-4 Oilers here? Is that what they're saying to us? Like what's gonna happen here? I mean, how does that make any sense that we're getting a way cheaper price? Like most people that watch hockey would agree that if you score 4 goals, you should probably win the hockey game. Anyway, that's what I have my eye on, Jeff, though. I know it sounds weird because people might say to me, why aren't you going with the bigger number? And maybe I should, but I'm tempted towards just that team total for the Golden Knights.
Because, and I'll take it, and you and I have been talking about this all season. Just get me to 4. I don't care after that. Mm-hmm. So you get your 4 goals. Like, listen, if you had and there was shame on me on Saturday. I had the hardest time Saturday reading the board. And it was just, I think it was just so much Kentucky Derby money influx. And everyone was betting on Saturday. It looked like a slot machine. It was just ding, 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 ding. Everything was changing. And Edmonton, team total over 3.5 was plus money on Saturday. They got 4 in the first period, And so I agree with what you're saying because I think Vegas can get to 4 tonight. And I think they still can lose the game. So instead of saying, hey, well, why wouldn't you take the plus 160? Well, if you wanted to put some pizza and beer money on that, go ahead. But I think the safer play, if you're on the Vegas side, is to grab them team total to get the 4 plus the 135. Flip it to you. If you liked Edmonton today and there's going to probably be at least 2 goals. And every time I say this, it never comes in. But if you took Edmonton minus the hook today, saying, okay, I hope it's 2-0 Edmonton, not 1-1, usually the road team's winning the game outright. Any love for Edmonton in the first period tonight?
I don't usually like to follow up a team in the first period after they just dominated the other, like the 4-0 after one. I know it sounds kind of cliche, I guess, but it's just more like, I'm almost in the playoffs more looking to bet on the teams that got shelled than previous game versus a team that I think if you like Edmonton, you just like the over in general in this game because they're going to score. It's a matter of how much Vegas contributes, really. But I will say this, as much as I'm recommending the team total for Vegas, I've been arguing this, since the series was about to start. Even though Vegas won 6-4 in the opening game, we can probably both agree that the under favors Vegas, the over favors Edmonton. Wide open pond hockey. And I'm so tired of hearing people talk about the power plays being an advantage. They draw power plays because they're good. If you trip somebody, they're not calling it because they play for the Oilers. They're calling it because you tripped them. And 3 for 6 is what went down for the Oilers last game. And I believe it was 0 for 3 for the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm not sure if it was you told me this or somebody else, but Vegas was either number 1 or number 2 for least penalized. I think it was number 1 least penalized team in the whole league during the regular season. Which team has the most penalties in round 2? The Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah.
Vegas.
But I'll tell you who's going to have a big game. Jonathan Marchessault is going to have a big game, and Chandler Stevenson's going to have a good game. Those are my 2 guys. However anybody wants to use them, points, shots. I'll tell you, Jeff, that you talk about juice and steam. The shot props have gotten a lot more attention. I feel like with these new apps and things, people are getting involved with them more. It's incredible. Like, because a lot of times I used to do my prop research middle of the day. I would figure out cider totals, what I like, get ready for shows. And then I'll be like, all right, I'll dive into the props now. I can't do that anymore. I really can't. Like a play that was minus 125 is actually moving to 140. It's unbelievable in the same day. So anyway, I will say Jonathan Marchessault over 2.5 shots on goal will be my prop play of the day here.
Scroller's been going the whole time, and we can't thank you enough here. We know you're jumping on the Twitter Spaces, which you can tell everyone in 1 second. Everyone following, go follow Andrew at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, at Sports Mayflower. Jump on over to YouTube on Mayflower Sports. Subscribe. It's free. While you're there, jump on the East Coast Sports Investors on YouTube. Subscribe. It's free. Andrew, before you close, tell them where to find you.
Yeah, thank you again for having me, Jeff. Always a pleasure being on here with you. Look forward to having you join me on Thursday. I think that's the day we will do it. Yep. We'll be on Twitter Spaces together. Anybody that wants to join me for any of my action, of course, wagertalk.com. But we have upgraded the package for the CFL. You buy the CFL, 21 weeks of action plus playoffs. Throw in the remainder of the NHL playoffs for free. So join me on CFL. I'll be talking about CFL all summer long with Jeff as well. But anybody interested, that is the package I'm kind of displaying and letting people know about right now. But looking forward to it. A few baseball plays tonight, some props in the NHL. Hopefully it's a great Monday. So thanks again, Jeff.
As always, Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, myself at EC Sports Invest. At 5 o'clock, Riley Maggs for the closing bell. And then at 10:30 tomorrow morning, myself and Julian Edlow from DraftKings will start your morning off. Everyone have a great day. Enjoy Envelope Monday for all the ECSI VIPs, and we will see you soon.